Welcome back, viewers. Bullseye Movies brings you a satisfying prediction on upcoming events on Season 3 of Georgie and Mandy. Sometimes the most destabilizing moments in a marriage don't come from infidelity, betrayal, or dramatic secrets, but from casual truths revealed too late. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage has always thrived on this quiet kind of tension, where seemingly harmless conversations carry the weight of unresolved history. The revelation, or reintroduction, of Veronica, Georgie's first real love, has all the makings of one of those deceptively small moments that ripple outward and reshape the emotional terrain of the series. If Season 3 chooses to explore Mandy learning about Veronica in a meaningful way, it won't be about jealousy in the traditional sitcom sense. It will be about timing, omission, and comparison, three things that already haunt Georgie and Mandy's relationship. What follows is a grounded prediction of how this storyline could unfold, why it matters now, and how it may quietly accelerate the marriage toward its inevitable fracture. The predicted storyline begins not with confrontation, but with humor, specifically, the kind of offhand remark that families make without realizing who's listening. Sheldon and Missy, now more comfortable in their sibling banter and less cautious around Mandy, bring up Veronica during a family dinner. It starts innocently. Maybe Sheldon is cataloging Georgie's romantic history with clinical detachment. Maybe Missy is teasing Georgie about that one girl who almost ruined him. The key detail is this: Mandy has never heard the name Veronica before. At first, she laughs along. She assumes this is just another teenage crush, another footnote in Georgie's past. But then the conversation continues, and details slip out. Veronica wasn't just a girlfriend. She wasn't casual. She mattered. And most unsettling of all, she sounds familiar. Missy makes the comparison without malice. Honestly? You kind of remind me of her. The room moves on. Mandy doesn't. One of the defining traits of Mandy is emotional intelligence. She rarely explodes immediately. Instead, she processes. She files information away. She lets it sit. So Mandy doesn't interrogate Georgie at the table. She doesn't make a scene. But internally, a switch flips. The predicted emotional shift here is subtle but crucial. Mandy begins wondering not who Veronica was, but why she never knew about her. That question lingers longer than jealousy ever could. In the days following the dinner, Mandy notices patterns she hadn't before. The way Georgie deflects when his past comes up. The way he frames their relationship as what finally worked. The absence of emotional storytelling from his pre-Mandy life. Veronica becomes less of a person and more of a missing chapter, and Mandy starts to realize that Georgie has a habit of telling the story of his life in a way that minimizes complexity. That realization hurts more than any comparison. From Georgie's perspective, Veronica is ancient history. In his mind, Veronica belongs to a version of himself that no longer exists. Mandy is his present, his wife, the mother of his child. Talking about Veronica feels unnecessary, even disrespectful. This is where Georgie's emotional blind spot comes into focus. He genuinely doesn't understand why Mandy would want to know about someone he loved before he knew what real responsibility was. To him, love didn't become serious until Mandy. Everything else feels juvenile. What Georgie fails to grasp, and what Season 3 would likely explore, is that first love is not about longevity. It's about formation. Veronica represents the first time Georgie felt seen. The first time he wanted to be better for someone. The first time his emotional instincts kicked in. That history doesn't disappear just because he moved on. And Mandy, whether she admits it or not, senses that. The most dangerous part of this storyline is not Veronica herself, it's the comparison. Sheldon and Missy's comment about Mandy resembling Veronica will not be a one-off joke. It will echo. Mandy begins to notice similarities. Shared assertiveness. Emotional independence. A refusal to settle. A clarity about personal boundaries. These traits, which Georgie claims to admire, start to feel less unique, and more like a pattern. Mandy's fear isn't that Georgie still loves Veronica. Her fear is this: what if Georgie doesn't love me? What if he loves a type? That question opens a psychological fault line in the marriage. If Mandy is just the next iteration of something Georgie already wanted before, then the marriage starts to feel less intentional and more inevitable. Less chosen. More circumstantial. Eventually, Mandy brings it up, but not directly. She asks questions sideways. Did you date seriously before me? Was there anyone who really mattered? Did you ever think you'd marry someone else? Georgie answers honestly, but minimally. He doesn't lie, but he doesn't elaborate. When Mandy finally says Veronica's name out loud, Georgie freezes. That reaction alone confirms Mandy's suspicion. This wasn't nothing. The conversation that follows will not be explosive. It will be awkward, uneven, unsatisfying. Georgie explains that Veronica was important, but not like Mandy. Mandy hears, important enough to remember. Georgie insists it's irrelevant. Mandy hears, you decided what I didn't need to know. This is where the argument turns existential. One of the smartest things Georgie and Mandy's first marriage could do with this storyline is avoid framing it as jealousy. Mandy doesn't accuse Georgie of cheating. She doesn't suspect lingering feelings. She doesn't fear betrayal. What she questions instead is narrative trust. What else does Georgie simplify? What else has he decided isn't worth explaining? What else will she learn too late? This ties directly into their origin story, the age lie, the rushed marriage, the pregnancy that forced decisions forward before conversations could catch up. Veronica becomes symbolic of a larger pattern. Georgie acts first, explains later, assumes love will smooth over the gaps. Season 3 is primed to explore the consequences of that pattern. This storyline will not end in separation. Not yet. Instead, it will result in a quiet emotional shift. Mandy becomes more guarded. Georgie becomes more defensive. Conversations become more strategic. Vulnerability becomes rarer. Veronica won't need to appear on screen. Her power lies in absence. She becomes the embodiment of unspoken history, missed conversations, emotional shortcuts. And once that door opens, it doesn't close easily. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on Bullseye Movies.